supporting the EP. This is our 63rd season, and this is our closing performance of our first play of the season. So thank you very much for joining us as we close off this first show. I do want to say a special thank you to our sponsor of A Murder Is Announced, and that is the Undershirt, and they are here today, so let's give them a round of applause. Without their support, we can't do the shows that we are able to put on for you. So thank you very much to all of our sponsors, and you can see them all here in our program.
What about you?
Speaking of which, usually all the stuff that I say at the beginning here, all of that actually is mostly found here in the middle of your program in this box. So I'm not going to say all of it, but I'll say some of it. But please take a look at that. It tells you like where to meet the actors after the show and that type of stuff. Please take this time to silence your devices. There are gunshots in this production, which may not come as a surprise that that's a possibility because the title of the show has the word murder in it. And it's an Agatha Christie, so I won't tell you when it happens, but there are some. Just wanted you to be aware of that. Thank you very much for wearing your masks during this production. As you can see, we are tightly packed in here. Our ventilation system isn't the best, and our actors on stage will be unmasked, and so it gives them confidence and to see you guys masked unless you're actively eating or drinking. Colds are going around, and it's just, it helps everybody, and so thank you very much for showing respect and honor to our actors and to our fellow patrons. If you would like to convert today's ticket into a season ticket, it's not too late to do that. I can do that and take the cost, discount the season ticket price by taking off today's ticket. See me during intermission or after the show, and I'm happy to help you with that. That's all I have. Thanks again for being here, and enjoy the show.
I'm not worried about it. Whoa, was it right?
You really do make too much fuss for Aunt Letty.
Well, Philippa's been through rather a lot, Julia. Tell me what's wrong with trying to make life a bit more pleasant.
Nothing, I suppose.
Such a little thing, waving goodbye. But it helps. I do the same for you.
I'm family.
Why, Julia? Sounds as if you're jealous.
Me, certainly not. But she is only a lodger.
Come to that. So are you. Look, I was pleased to have you here and just as pleased to have Philippa. She's had a lot to contend with. How would you feel if your husband died so young, leaving you with a child?
I don't know. I wouldn't have gotten married in my teens. I'm not so daft.
The trouble is, we can't all be as worldly as you are.
I'm sorry, Aunt Letty.
There's no need.
No, I've been spiteful. And believe it or not, I rather like Philippa. We seem to be on the same wavelength. But you do make too much fuss of all of us.
I like having young people around. So when your mother asked if you could stay, I was delighted. It meant I could indulge myself.
I can't find it, Letty. I can't find it anywhere.
What, dear?
It's Friday.
All day, dear.
Yes.
Friday the 13th, to be precise. Almost.
Oh, dear. What was I saying, Letty?
You couldn't find it, Bunny dear.
Exactly. I can't find it anywhere. Have you seen it?
Let's start at the beginning.
It's Friday. I always read it on Friday morning after breakfast.
The Chipping Cleghorn, you mean?
Of course.
The Gazette.
That's what I've been telling you.
Yes, dear.
The Chipping Cleghorn Gazette. I can't find it anywhere. You don't think they've gone on strike, do you?
No, dear, they wouldn't do that.
What a lovely thought. A strike here. Headlines in the national press. We might even be on the wireless. Reporters for the Chipping Cleghorn Gazette refused to report the Vicar's garden party.
Things like that don't happen. Not here.
No, nothing happens here. It's another world, I suppose.
Well, it's just as well, too.
Black.
Listen to this. It's marvelous. Absolutely marvelous.
Oh, Patrick, do tell us what it says. We're all dying to know.
Oh dear, we are in a bad mood today, aren't we? Have a bad dream last night.
A nightmare. It was all about you.
Well, it's better than being ignored.
What's so marvelous, Patrick?
The personal column in this rag on Letty. It's better than Evelyn Home. Listen to this. Young woman said to be exceedingly beautiful seeks companionship with mature man. Love, marriage. Rolls-Royce owners only. Really, Bonnie, I'm surprised at you. Wouldn't a Bentley owner be just as suitable?
You know very well, young man, that Bunny always reads the Gazette first. I don't have many rules in this house, but that's one. She's been looking everywhere for it.
She could have borrowed Mitzi's.
Mitzi?
She thinks it'll help her to speak English.
Oh, dear me, no, I couldn't. I really couldn't. I've only got to walk past the kitchen and she snarls at me. I only want to help, that's all. I couldn't ask her. I just couldn't. She's horrid, that Millie.
Mitzi. Well, you won't have to ask her.
Yes, it's all yours, Bunny.
Thank you, Patrick.
And I promise I won't borrow it again.
Why aren't you at college? This wouldn't have happened if you'd been at college.
I haven't got to lecture till this afternoon.
All that grant you get and you never seem to have anything to do.
It's not my fault.
Oh, Bunny, read your paper. You really are lucky, Patrick.
I'm quite willing to go to more lectures.
It's one giant holiday for him.
Look who's talking about a holiday. You've got the whole day off.
Only because I worked overtime every night this week.
Ah, pull the other one. I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't been working overtime at all. Been to the pictures more like.
My goodness, you two. Did you always bicker like this at home?
He did, I didn't.
Letty! Letty!
What is it, Bunny? What's wrong?
Letty dear, what could it mean? Oh my goodness, whatever can it mean?
And I won't know unless you tell me.
Here in the Gazette, in the bottom of the personal column.
Yes?
It's an announcement.
Oh, how nice.
No, you don't understand.
No, I know I don't.
It says, oh dear, I can't bear to read it.
But you will.
Yes. A murder is announced and will take place on Friday, October the 13th at Little Paddocks at 6:30 p.m. Friends, please accept this, the only intimation.
Are you sure that's what it says?
Right at the bottom.
This house, Little Paddocks.
Yes.
Read it again, Bunny.
A murder is announced and will take place on Friday, October the 13th.
Today! Oh, I just knew something dreadful was going to happen today.
Oh, a few minutes ago you were complaining that nothing ever happens here. Finish it.
At Little Paddocks at 6:30 p.m. Friends, please accept this, the only intimation. Oh, Letty.
Let me see.
It's a joke.
Well, it must be. I mean, who'd be daft enough to advertise a real murder in the newspaper?
Madman, right?
It's nothing to do with you, is it?
I'm not potty.
That's debatable.
Oh,
I wouldn't put it past you.
It's nothing to do with me. Perhaps Philippa could throw some light on it.
no, it's not the sort of thing she'd get up to anyway.
I agree. Well, someone seems to find it amusing.
Well, it frightens me.
Oh, there's nothing to worry about.
But what will happen at 6:30?
Really, Patrick?
It's Mitzi's special take. We always pull it to vicious death.
Yes. Friends, please accept this, the only intimation. If somebody's bound to drop round, I thought I might ask her to make one.
Yes, I'm sure you did. No, Bunny, I don't think anything will happen at 6:30, although Patrick is probably correct in suggesting that perhaps one or two people might drop in out of curiosity.
It might turn into a party.
Yes.
Oh, it most certainly won't.
So there's nothing to worry about, Bunny. Nothing.
You really think so?
Of course.
Oh, good. That makes me feel so much better.
But I'll laugh about it tomorrow.
Yes.
Someone is after me! I'm gonna be murdered in my bed!
Murdered!
It is here, in the Gazette. They are coming for me!
chaos.
There will be blood everywhere. They will cut me up and feed me to the dogs.
Poor dogs.
It will happen here. I stay tonight at 6:30. They come for me. You see this? They care nothing for their love. They tell everyone they come to murder me. Orle, make a bed.
No one is going to murder you. It's a joke.
Not laugh, I go.
But nevertheless, I don't think it has anything to do with you.
You don't know. Once you escape, they never let you get away.
But I thought you did get away.
They hound me day and night, night and day. The telephone calls, wonder what they are, who they are from.
What telephone call?
Agents from my country. Why do you think they keep phoning me?
I expect they only want to know how you're getting on along here, Mindy.
But Mitzi, I've never heard you get a telephone call.
They do it in secret. They don't like it that I escaped and all you have no idea what it's like. The interrogation for days, weeks, months, the light shining in my eyes, but finally they send them to Siberia. They end them to a mega
Mitzi, do be sensible about this. Nothing is going to happen to you. No one is going to come after you. No spy, no agent. So just calm yourself down. We'll all look after you. Now, this is what I suggest. You get that nice beef out of the country, and you make that special goulash of yours for lunch.
You like my goulash?
Oh, it's simply delicious.
I make it even more special for you today. I put some rich red wine from Hungary. Makes my mouth water just thinking of it.
Oh, good, you do that. Incidentally, I expect someone or other might drop in at around 6:30.
To murder me!
No.
Why they come?
For a drink or a sandwich, perhaps. And we make such nice sandwiches.
It'll be all right.
There's nothing to worry about.
You all right? I am good cook, no? I make a dip too.
Oh, yes. Only not too much garlic, please.
You know like garlic?
Yes, but in moderation. After the last dip you made, we were in total isolation at church on Sunday. It was 2 days after we'd eaten it.
I tell you, I only used 2 cloves of garlic this time instead of my usual 7. It is to be nearly so good though. I go now. Too long here kept me gas fired.
Well done, Aunt Letty.
Yes, beautifully handled.
Oh, how nice to have you two in agreement for once.
Betty always was good with people. She could have gone the wrong way. Yes, a long way indeed, if only.
Now, Buddy dear, we mustn't reminisce. Young people these days aren't interested in the past.
Oh dear, I'm so silly. I get so muddled lately. I am sorry, Letty, really and truly sorry.
Honey, I wasn't angry with you.
But you're so right. Everything is mixed up. I must be more careful and think before I say something.
No one minds, we understand. Now read your paper, dear. You know how much you enjoy it.
Yes, that's what I'll do. But I won't read that advertisement again, Letty.
No, Bunny, don't do that.
And I shan't sleep a wink tonight. Mitzi could be right. We might all be murdered in our beds.
No, Bunny, no. The advertisement said 6:30. I don't think any of us will be in our beds by then.
Oh, no, we won't, will we? We could be murdered down here just as easily as upstairs.
Bunny,
Oh, don't do that, Letty, please.
I'm sorry. Just enjoy your paper. Very well.
For a moment there, I could see Mitzi clearing off for good and me having to do all the cooking from now on. And you needn't make any comments, thank you very much.
I was just thinking what a terrible liar Mitzi is.
We all know she doesn't get any phone calls.
And what was that about her family being sent to Siberia? Last time she said they were executed in Red Square.
As she stood there in the snow with the tears freezing on her cheeks.
Oh, we must be sympathetic toward her. She's lonely. Life must be pretty miserable with no one you can talk to. No one from your background. I suppose it's why she makes up all those stories.
Lies, you mean?
Well, yes, I do. But I think I can see why she does it.
Well, why are her stories always such doom, gloom, and disaster?
It's what she likes. Just like some people enjoy reading murder mysteries.
The front door was open. I do hope I'm not intruding.
Not at all, Miss Marple.
And I just popped in to deliver these to Miss Bunham.
Oh, how lovely.
You remember you admired them so at the vicarage the other day? I told my nephew, and he insisted that I bring some along for you.
Oh, how kind, how very kind. Look, Letty, aren't they lovely? And so unusual in autumn.
My grandmother used to grow them right up to the winter months. Oh, I adore violets.
Yes, there's something very sentimental about them. Don't you think so, Julia?
I think you've a very romantic nature, Miss Marple.
Do you?
But I do see what you mean.
Well, I don't think Patrick does.
No, there's no romance in his soul.
Oh, you're only his sister. You probably wouldn't see it if it was there.
Where should we go, Letty? I want everyone to be able to enjoy them.
What about over here on the sideboard? Oh, look, there's a vase already here waiting for them.
What? Oh, it already has water in it. Must be stale. I'll get some fresh. Only take a minute.
Do sit down, Miss Marple.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you called. I wanted to ask you to Bunny's birthday party on Sunday. She would love to have you here.
Thank you. I love parties. Perhaps there's something I can do to help.
Oh, I'll be helping out Letty, Miss Marple. Well, we all know that you'll be in bed until noon, and then you'll spend the rest of the day snoring in an armchair, so we can't rely on you for any help now, can we?
This announcement in the Gazette, what does it mean?
You saw that, did you?
I should think everybody in Chipping Cleghorn has seen it by now. Has it anything to do with Miss Bunner's birthday?
We have no idea what it means.
Yeah, probably some crank who thinks he's being funny.
I see. I thought it was an invitation to play some new sort of game or something.
Ooh, the murder game. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Well, if you're interested, Miss Marple, why don't you drop by at around 6:30?
Oh, yes, do, Miss Marple.
I'd love to, but I have to go to Medden and Wells for treatment, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I'll do my best, though.
Is your rheumatism any better?
Oh, very much, thank you. The spa waters are so good. Give it another week, and I shall be back in St Mary Mead.
Chipping Cleghorn won't be the same without you.
I shall visit here, although I don't think my niece will be over sorry when I go. They've been very patient with me.
Would they like to come tonight?
I'm sure they'd love to. My nephew's very like me. He loves a mystery, but they're having dinner with the bishop.
Oh, it would have been rather reassuring to have the vicar here.
Though knowing your neighbours, you won't be alone. The Colonel and Mrs. Easterbrook, for a start.
So they're in Bournemouth.
Yes.
Clara Swettenham wouldn't miss an opportunity like this. And young Edmund, with two beautiful young girls staying here.
Now, there's someone I could do without. And Philippa says he's a layman.
I thought he was a writer.
Oh, he is. But she says that it's an excuse to not get a real job and work for a living.
Perhaps she's got a point.
Do thank the vicar for me, Miss Marple. I'm touched, I really am. It's so very kind of him.
He was delighted that you noticed them. He brought the original classic back from Devon, the Dark Valley. He was born there.
Devon violets, there's nothing quite like them.
No, they're beautiful. Well, I must be off. I do hope all will be well this evening.
What?
The announcement in the Gazette. A murder will take place here at 6:30.
Oh, yes.
If it wasn't a joke or some sort of game, it would be very worrying for all of you.
We are made of much sterner stuff than you think, Miss Marple.
But surely, Miss Blacklock, if there's to be a murder, there has to be a victim. If I were you, the question I would be asking myself is, who is going to be murdered?
Get it?
Do you like what I do, Miss Blacklock?
Yes?
Yes,
sandwiches. I put a tail in it.
The pâté. Not my pâté de foie gras.
It is delicious.
It was a present. It came from Fortnum's. I've been saving it for a special occasion.
You tell me to make sandwiches, I do it.
I was rather thinking of cheese.
Your English cheese, it is like soap.
We like it.
Do you need me anymore?
No, thank you, Mitzi. Oh, are you going out this evening?
I have things to do in the dining room, and then I go to my room and lock myself up.
Well, before you hide away, would you mind letting the guests in when they arrive? I've decided to lock the front door this evening.
Everything here. Head cook, bucket washer.
Bottle washer.
Yes, that too!
Not long now. Aren't you worried?
Why should I be?
Supposing this isn't a hoax. Supposing some maniac is going to commit a murder here tonight.
You're the last person I expected to take it seriously.
Well, I do have a few butterflies in my stomach.
Well, then have a drink and relax.
What bothers me most is Miss Marple's comment.
Oh, forget it. Miss Marple's a real old busybody.
But quite a clever old busybody. And if she's right, then who is going to be the victim?
No one. Either it's a joke or it's someone who wants to get even. Someone I owe hospitality to, and it slipped my mind.
Well, if it isn't that,
Julia!
then one of us is going to die.
Nothing is going to happen, so just forget about it.
But it could be you. Or worse still, me.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, it has to be somebody in this house. Patrick, there are times I could throttle him. And then there's Bunny.
Oh, perish the thought. Poor dear Bunny.
I've seen you driven to distraction by her before now.
Well, yes. But we've been friends a long time. From my childhood. She can be irritating. What a horrible thought.
Well, on a happier note, it could be Mitzi who gets the job. She gets on my nerves.
That's not a good reason to murder her.
Philippa puzzles. Who is she? Where does she come from?
You know very well who she is and where she comes from.
We've only got her word for it.
Well, the same applies to you and Patrick.
But Mother wrote to you, asked if we could stay here.
How do I know it wasn't a forgery?
I suppose I know what you mean. But it wasn't.
I'm sure it wasn't. The same way I'm sure about Philippa.
And it's all supposed to happen tonight at 6:30. And apparently this room will be the scene of the crime.
It's a crazy story, Letty. If someone intends to commit a murder, why on earth announce it in a newspaper for everyone to see? I should think it would be wise to keep quiet about it.
I agree, Philippa. It's crazy. It's got to be a madman.
Or a mad woman.
It's a wonder the police haven't been round here.
I shouldn't be thinking that they would be bothered with anything like this.
Are you?
Certainly not. It's too silly for words.
Well, you don't sound too sure of yourself.
I certainly am. It's just someone who wants an excuse for a drink. That's all.
Oh, Aunt Letty, this is rather getting on top of you, isn't it?
No, it isn't. But you keep going on about it. It's stupid and childish, and I want to forget it. Do you understand?
Quack, quack. Quack, quack. Quack.
Is anything wrong, Bunny?
Infernal noise they make, Letty. They're all out on the back lawn.
Oh my goodness, the ducks. I forgot to lock them up. Have you been outside like that?
What, Letty?
Without your coat?
Only to the bottom of the garden to throw some rubbish away.
Oh, Dr. Robinson would be very annoyed, and I'm not sure I shan't tell him.
Please don't.
Oh, you'll be the death of me, Bunny.
Oh.
I won't be a minute.
I'll do it.
Oh, certainly not. Philippa, you've been at work all day. Sit and relax.
I'll go.
Thank you, Patrick, but I'd like to do it myself.
If I'd had my galoshes on, I would have done it for her.
I noticed you stayed discreetly in the background, afraid of getting your hands dirty.
No, my new dress is a matter of fact.
Ooh, that must have cost a bomb.
A friend got it for me.
Oh, like that, is it?
Ask no questions.
Death wore black chiffon.
I beg your pardon?
Well, if you were the murderer, death wore black chiffon would be quite appropriate, wouldn't it?
If you're trying to be
I
funny.
once read a book called that.
Are you sure, Bunny?
No, that wasn't it. Let me see. It was called Death Wore Black Lingerie. No, I'm wrong. Death Wore Broad Panties. That's it. Nice book, but there were some parts I didn't quite understand.
Patrick, there is something you can do for me.
Anything.
There's not much sherry. Please put this away and get a new bottle.
There's still half a bottle.
It's been open a long time.
What?
Here are Mrs. Spettenham and Edmund Spettenham. Thank you. You're welcome. Why do you laugh at me?
No, it's not you. It's something else. Honest.
You stay out of my kitchen.
Mitzi. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry.
This way, please.
Clara, Edmund, how good of you to call.
Hey, we were just, passing, Betty.
Really?
Yes. Isn't that right, Edmund?
Yes, Mother, that's right.
Yes, yeah. We were, in the car, and I was telling Edmund he was driving much too fast. And look, Edmund, we're passing Little Bannock. He said he would never forgive us if we didn't stop in and say hello. And then Edmund said, Edmund, what'd you say?
What's a good idea?
Sure, yes. And I said, yes, isn't it? You know. So here we are.
Oh, well, it was so nice of you to think of us. Oh, you sit down.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much.
Isn't it funny?
What is Letty?
Clara and Edmund were just passing by and decided to stop in and see how we were.
Oh, but this morning you said they were bound to call in. Bursting with curiosity, you said, after reading the announcement in the Gazette. You did see it, didn't you, Clara?
Well, was it that article in the paper?
Right in the bottom of the personal column.
I may have seen it.
And Julia said you'd be here too. Wild horses wouldn't keep you away.
Oh, well, now that you're here.
Totally unexpected.
Let's all have a drink, shall we?
Yes.
Drinks.
Yes, sherry, Mrs. Spence.
Oh, yes, that'd be fine. Thank you.
Edmund.
Thank you. Well, you look awful busy this morning, Philippa.
Things got even more hectic after you left.
Oh, I see. You two had the secret meetings, eh? Hatching something?
There was nothing secret about it, and we're not hatching anything.
No, by no means. You see, I had to call at Dyer's Hall with some honey for Mrs. Lucas.
That's your story.
Julia?
Yes, darling.
I should be careful. Otherwise, a few things might come out that the rest of us will find rather peculiar.
Drinks, everyone. Drinks. There you are.
Oh, Bunny, that dress is lovely, dear. Yes, you too, dear. Thank you.
These glasses rather dainty, Mother.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And nice Joes with a dash of cyanide.
Oh, well. You can only die once, I suppose. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Really enjoyed it. Even all the food.
Oh, yes, it's quite important. I've seen it for you.
Oh, sure, yeah, Bill,
At 6:30.
Are you the murderer?
Me, the mother, of course not. No.
Well, you seem to know all about it.
Well, it was in the Gazette, wasn't it?
I shouldn't be surprised if everyone in Chipping Claiborne saw it this morning.
Oh, yes, indeed, they did.
It's almost 6:30. If anything is going to happen, it'll be any moment now. Cigarette, anyone?
Oh, no, thank you. Yes, please, Letty.
Here you are.
Oh, do you need a light? Here you are.
Thank you, Edmund.
Stand where you are! I say get your hands up! If you want to get out of this alive, use your toes! You! Hurry! Hurry, go ahead! You, away from the door. Go!
Patrick, sit down.
Now!
Patrick!
For God's sake, someone put the lights on!
Where has he gone? I can't see it. Have you got those matches, Edmund?
Lost. That was the last one.
Someone please turn the light on.
They must be fused.
Well, where's the fuse box?
In the hall. I'll go.
Okay, my
What? Stay calm. I'll soon have the lights back on.
Letty! Letty!
All right, Bunny, stay calm.
I'm frightened.
There's no need.
He's unconscious. He must have knocked himself out.
Who is it?
I have no idea. Better grab the gun before he comes around.
Do be careful.
Will someone please help me?
Someone get us a brandy.
Brandy, surely we should call the doctor.
Nothing, I'm all right. It's nothing, it's just my ear.
Here, Auntie Fleur.
Oh,
Why the handkerchief?
Well, I don't suppose the police would be very happy if I got my finger on the dress.
What do you mean the police are coming?
You'll have to be called in, Mother.
Is that Mitzi?
Yes, it seems someone's locked her in the dining room.
Why do that?
I have no idea.
Well, hadn't we better let her out?
I'll do it.
No, there might be a... I'll do it in a moment.
Are you feeling better, dear?
thank you.
Letty's been shot at!
By this man.
That's
Of
him right
course,
there.
That's right, right there. He did it.
Is he coming round?
No,
No, what?
I wonder who he is.
I know who he is. His name is Rudy Schurtz, and he's dead.
So, he fires 2 shots from here, hits the wall, then shoots himself.
If he tripped, he could have done it accidentally, sir.
Are they all here now?
Yes, sir. Mumbling and groaning.
Oh.
And I should watch that Edmund Swetnam.
Why?
I should think he's a bit of a left-wing intellectual.
I didn't get that impression last night.
He's been a bit bolshy with me, sir. He was having a go at the force this morning, spouting on about our Gestapo methods.
Oh, Christ, why do I always get the awkward ones?
You do seem to attract them, sir.
Why can't I get a nice, peaceful, law-abiding lot who'll do as they're told and answer my questions with a certain amount of civility?
Not your style, sir.
Once. Just once, that's all I ask. Someone up there doesn't like me, Sergeant. And what's more, that lot up there are trying to compound the felony.
Shall I wheel them in?
There's nothing else for it, is there?
Afraid not, sir.
Oh, not that door. It's been sealed for years.
Take very long. Oh, in fact, we have 5 minutes, right? No, take very long. Okay.
Can I have your attention, please? Quiet, please. Please! That's very good of you. I appreciate your cooperation.
Listen here, Inspector. This is very inconvenient. You know, it's Saturday, there's shopping and lots of jobs to be done here.
I understand your problem, Mrs. Swetnam, but may I remind you, a man died here last night, right on the spot where you're standing. And whilst it may not seem overly important to you, it is to me and to society in general. So I'd like to ask you to push your shopping to the back of your mind for a while and answer a few questions.
Well, I should think there were enough questions asked last night.
That's probably because you don't think the same way as I do, young man. Yes, that's the answer. We think differently. But if you'll cast your mind back, way back to last night, you'll surely recall I allowed you all to go home and get some rest on the understanding that you'd come back and cooperate fully this morning.
Well, it's perfectly clear what happened. This man, sure it's his name, I believe?
Yes.
He broke in here, attempting to steal from Miss Blacklock, or the rest of us. He fired the shots to scare us, tripped in the dark, and killed himself. The poor devil.
Does he do it?
I understand you're a bit of a writer.
Yes, I do write.
Well, I hope all of your plots aren't that obvious, otherwise I don't think I have any interest in reading any of your books. Now, can we get on with this, please?
I'm sure we're all perfectly willing to do anything you ask of us, Inspector, but it has been quite an ordeal, you know.
I appreciate that, Miss Blacklock, but for a start, he didn't break in. No locks are broken, no windows forced.
He probably came in through the back door. I did.
As I was saying when Miss Marple interrupted, there's your very bad habit of keeping your doors unlocked for all and sundry to come and go as they please.
I did lock the front door.
For once.
And everyone in the village does it. Leaves them open, I mean.
Foolish. Very foolish.
I must have left the back door open when I went to lock up the ducks.
Now, Miss Blackwell, last night you said you knew Rudy Shirts.
Oh, hardly knew, Inspector. His father owned a small hotel in Montreux. Spent many years in Switzerland helping to nurse my sister. And occasionally I had a meal there. Well, recently, I had lunch at the Royal Spa Hotel in Mendham Wells. He was there. He approached me, said he recognized me and that he was over here to get a thorough grounding of the hotel business. Well, honestly, I must point out I had no recollection of who he was. But a few days later, he called on me here.
He'd been here before?
Yes.
I remember, laddie. You were very upset. He asked you for some money.
That's right. He gave me some story about his father being taken seriously ill, and he desperately needed money for airfare. Well, I believed he was lying. After all, if his father owned a hotel, surely his family could afford to send him the money. I told him I had no intention whatsoever of lending him the money. What struck me most was he didn't make a fuss. He just left, like a lamb.
Do you think he may have called here simply to look around, to see the layout, see what the layout of the house was, that sort of thing?
Well, I hadn't given it much thought before now, but yes, that must be what he was doing here. Not that it would have done him any good. I hardly keep more than a few pounds around the house.
Valuables?
Nothing.
Jewelry? Silver?
Bits and pieces. The silver's reasonable, nothing more. Mitzi was just polishing it last night.
I'm not touched it. It is nothing to you secret policemen. You come here, you blame me all the time. It is the same where I come from. Torture and that they're engaged in. And I do not crack. I do not break. I tell them nothing. Yeah!
Is she always like this?
Yes. Orchard. You gave me nowhere. I am innocent. Innocent! I was in the dining room. That is my 100% alibi, as you say.
And a very good alibi it is. Perhaps too good on the surface. Now just sit down and try to remember I'm not too keen on histrionics.
I will not.
Sit! Now, Miss Blacklock, we've established that you knew Rudy Schertz.
Excuse me, Inspector. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I knew him too.
You didn't mention this last night.
Well, I did, but you weren't here at the time. And well, when you arrived, you rather neglected me.
Did I? Oh.
Probably because I didn't arrive until after the action had taken place.
So, you knew this Rudy Schertz?
I did.
And you, came around here after everything happened?
Yes.
Well, kind of like jumping to the end of the book to see who the killer is, eh?
Well, as an analogy, that doesn't work, because it's cheating. I usually manage to guess who it is without resorting to such tactics. Do you turn to the last page?
If only I could. So, you knew Rudy Schertz?
Yes, I stayed at the Royal Spa while I was having intensive treatment for rheumatism. He made up my bill.
Ah.
There were one or two discrepancies which I could have failed to notice, of course.
Of course.
It was clear to me that he was on the make, as they say in the trade. Naturally, when the errors were pointed out, he apologized profusely, but we both knew.
Did you report him?
And there was nothing I could actually prove.
He does seem to have been a bit of a villain. I'll know more soon. The Swiss police are running a check on him.
Oh, good.
Now, I'd like you all to take up the exact positions you were in, as far as possible, that is, from last night, when the shots were fired.
Do you want me to leave? I was coming up the drive.
So you were outside when the shots were fired?
I was. As you realise, I came in through the back door. Mitzi was banging about in the dining room. I let her out, and then we both came in here.
Tell you what you can do. Keep an eye on her. I don't want her banging about again.
I am not banging about, Minty, like a jig.
Shush, shush, shush!
Ah!
And shush again!
Come and sit down, Mitzi. Let's go, gal.
Now come along, everyone, please.
Yes, because you were thank you. And then she Right, I was before. Yes, and I was yes, 2 cigarettes to you.
Thank you very much. So, the lights went out, the flashlight came on, and it landed on you.
I didn't have my hands up. I thought it was a joke. And then he barked at me, so I put my hands up really high like this.
He couldn't complain about that, could he?
I thought he was going to shoot me.
You're Miss Blacklock's niece.
Yes.
That's the sort of answer I like. Full of confidence. You are Miss Blacklock's niece?
It's just that I don't see what my relationship with that Letty has to do with it.
I suggest you leave me to work that out. I was merely trying to establish who you are.
You can check up on it if you like.
I shall. Your mother lives in the south of France, I understand.
Yes, she's lived there for some time. It suits her health.
Thank you. Mrs. Swetnam,
Yes,
the light moved on to you next, didn't it?
yes it did. I was totally dazzled. I couldn't see a thing. And I heard that voice. It was frightening. Guttural.
You haven't all that long returned to this country, is that right?
Yes. My husband was with the diplomatic service. He died abroad, so naturally I returned with Edmund.
Where were you? Abroad, that is.
Why? Turin. He was with the trade delegation there. Look, I don't know what my personal life has to do with any of this.
If my knowledge of geography hasn't entirely deserted me, Turin isn't all that far from the Swiss border, is it?
No.
Thank you, Mrs. Swetnam.
Just what are you insinuating?
The light fell on you next, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Aren't you going to ask me any more questions?
Not right now. Mrs. Haynes, the light moved on to you next, didn't it? Oh, the light never fell on you at all, did it?
No, it didn't.
But you were facing the door.
That's right.
Were you able to see this man at all?
Not really. It was difficult to see anything.
But you were in a good position.
It was very dark. I could make out a shape perhaps, but nothing more.
How long ago did your husband die?
Why? What on earth has that to do with this?
I'd like to know when and why you came to live here.
I still don't see what the relevance is.
Does it seem odd that virtually all of you are newcomers to Chipping Cleghorn?
It's never occurred to me until now.
Odd though.
I came here a few months ago because I was offered a job restoring the gardens at Days Hall. I'm a trained horticulturist.
That's nice, gardener.
It's a good one.
Miss Banner.
You're not going to give me the third degree, are you, Inspector?
Not today. But I would like to know what you saw, if anything. I'd be very grateful. You were in a good position to see Miss Blacklock and the gunman if the lights had been on.
Yes, I was.
I want you to think very hard and tell me what you saw before the lights went out.
Before?
And then we'll see what you remember after the lights went out.
Let me see. Letty was holding the vase.
No, Bunny, no. I was holding the cigarette box. I'd been handing it around.
Oh, now I remember. You were holding the cigarette box, not the vase.
And then what, Miss Banner?
The flash.
From the torch?
No,
Oh?
there was a flash. It must have been from the light shining on the cigarette box. We keep it very polished.
Ah.
And then it was dark, and he fired his gun at poor Letty. How could anyone do that?
You actually saw him fire the gun?
I saw the gun fire at Letty.
Thank you, Miss Banner.
He should be locked up.
Bunny, he's dead.
Serves him right. He tried to murder poor Letty.
Now, you were up by the door having a few drinks?
I only had one, you know.
Whatever you say, but you were up by the door.
No. I was by the door, but then he told me to move away from it. After the first two shots were fired, I felt him brush by my leg, and I tried to trip him up.
And that's when you think he fell?
Yes, I suppose so.
And after that, that's when you went outside to mend the fuse?
Yes. I didn't mend them. I simply switched them around. It was quicker and easier. It was easy for me, of course. I knew where the fuse box was, how to open it, which fuses were affected.
You're Miss Simmons' brother?
I'm a year older.
Miss Blacklock's nephew?
No.
Oh, I understood you did.
We are second cousins, Inspector. Patrick's mother is my first cousin.
Yes. Our mother always called her Aunt Letty. So when we came back here, well...
How long have you been living there?
3 months, I should think.
So the three of you have only really known each other since June or July of this year?
I did know them as children, Inspector.
Right. Miss Blacklock, Would you please take up the exact position you were in when the shots were fired? Well, that was a rather narrow escape, wasn't it?
I was extremely fortunate.
Right. Well, that wasn't too painful, was it?
Are we free to go then, Inspector?
Yes, you are, but please do stay in the village. Don't take any sudden and unexpected holidays or anything like that.
Excuse me, Inspector.
Yes, Miss Marple?
You haven't questioned me.
You didn't turn up until after the action?
But suppose I was lying. Suppose I was Rudy Schertz's accomplice. I could easily have locked Mitzi in the dining room. I could have hidden for a while. I know the layout of the house. And then pretended to turn up when it was all over.
In that case, I'll put you under arrest.
But I didn't. I wasn't his accomplice.
In that case, you're free to go.
How very disappointing. You're having a game with me, Inspector.
And you with me, Miss Marple. I shall question you when I'm ready.
Very well.
All right, thank you very much. I shall be talking with all of you again very soon. Miss Blacklock, I'd like you to stay. Have a seat, Miss Blacklock. Miss Blacklock,
Yes,
I think it's cards on the table time.
I don't understand, Inspector.
I think you do. Someone tried to kill you last night.
Oh, no. No, Inspector.
I think there's no doubt of it.
I think you're wrong. There were plenty of opportunities for Rudy Schertz to kill me if he wanted to. Why wait until last night? Why invite witnesses?
What makes you think it was Rudy Schertz?
Well, wasn't it?
He did place the advertisement in the Gazette.
Well, there you go. It sort of proves my point. Now, if he wanted to murder me, why not wait behind a hedge and pop me off when no one was about? No, I'm sorry. He did not come here to kill me.
Someone could have put him up to it.
Put him up to it.
Someone who wanted you dead and was prepared to pay Rudy Schertz to do it. You see, I'm not so sure his death was an accident.
How can it be anything else? He tripped and shot himself.
No. Supposing there was someone else. And what if the someone had assumed he'd done his job and murdered you? Wouldn't it be safer to shoot Rudy Schertz so that there was no possibility of him being caught by the police and telling us the truth?
I see what you're saying.
So you agree with me then?
No. Because why? Why should anyone want to kill me?
I have a feeling you might be able to answer that.
I can't. I've got no enemies and I know if I'm on friendly terms with everyone in the village.
Who gets your money if you die?
Is this really necessary, Inspector?
Please, Miss Blacklock, indulge me. Answer my question.
Patrick and Julia.
I see.
I might also add that the furniture and a small annuity goes to Miss Bonner, so I suppose she becomes the suspect too? The point is, there's not much for me to leave. Frankly, I am not worth murdering.
Nevertheless, all three of them benefit.
And not one of them would harm a hair on my head.
You'd be surprised what people will do for money.
I find this conversation extremely distasteful, Inspector. You are accusing people who are very dear to me. People I trust with my life.
Have you anything of great value?
No, nothing.
Those pearls you're wearing?
They are priceless.
Oh?
But only to me. They belong to my sister. We were very close. I wear them all the time. They somehow, and I don't suppose you would understand for 1 minute, but they keep me in touch with her.
I like to think I'm not insensitive, but I still think someone's trying to kill you. Can you come back to the wall? If he had merely intended to frighten you and everyone else, he could have fired the shots into the ceiling. But think, the clock struck past. Everyone turned to it. The lights go out. The door swung open and...
Miss Marple!
Give me that gun!
It's a toy, Inspector. It fires pieces of potato.
What is this all about?
I couldn't help wondering how that young man could be in 3 places at once, fusing the lights, locking Mitzi in the dining room, and opening the door with a torch in one hand and a gun in the other. I couldn't. I had to put the gun down, open the door, and pick it up again after. Seems to me he was a very athletic young man.
Good point, Miss Marple.
Inspector, that's praise indeed. Tell me, do you think it's possible that Rudy Schertz had an accomplice?
Miss Marple,
Yes.
would you like my job?
Yes, but I'd never make a policeman.
You think not?
I'm not tall enough. Now, I started on that little charade in the hope that it would help to prove my theory that Rudy Schertz came here to murder Miss Blacklock.
I've been trying to convince her that myself. Perhaps now you'll believe it's not just the rambling of an hysterical old papa. Someone is trying to murder you, and it can happen any time now.
Just because Miss Marple agrees with you, it doesn't mean to say you're right.
I'm trying to save your life.
I believe that too, Miss Blacklock.
Somewhere there's a reason. And you know it. It may be hidden deep in your mind. We've got to bring it out.
There's no reason. I'm sure of it.
Please, think.
I understand that one day you could inherit millions.
Miss Marple?
No, Miss Bunk was telling me when we were having coffee at the Bluebird Coffee House.
Trust Bunny. I shall have to do something with her.
Why have you been keeping something back from me?
It's nothing. It doesn't concern this case or you. In fact, it's most unlikely to happen.
Do I have to ask Miss Marple or Miss Bunner for the details?
Miss Marple is referring to Randall Girdler's will.
Randall Girdler?
He was a financier, Inspector, very flamboyant, hailed as a genius in the city.
He was. I was his personal secretary for nearly 20 years. He made millions.
But without your help, that might never have happened.
You seem very well informed, Miss Marple. Why don't you tell the inspector?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude.
No, I'm sorry. It's just that Bunny often gets things muddled, and you may have received a strange version of the truth.
What is the truth?
I loaned Randall Girdler some money in his early days. Everything I had. He was really up against it. One step away from losing all he'd worked for. He didn't. I more or less became a junior partner. When he died, he left a fortune.
To whom?
To his wife, Belle, in trust for her during her lifetime. When she dies, it comes to me.
And you think this has nothing to do with the shooting?
Oh, how can it? Rudy Schertz didn't know me, let alone Randall Girdler. His will was never made public.
It can be looked up in Somerset House. Tell me, how does Mrs. Girdler feel towards you?
We haven't seen each other for years, but we were always great friends.
Miss Bonner was saying that her health hasn't been good of late.
No, Belle was never very strong. But Randall always said she'd outlive us all. Oh, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Still, the trouble is, well, apparently she has difficulty remembering anything or anyone now. I should go to see her, poor Belle, but she lives in Scotland and it's such a long way. You know, Inspector, I've had an excellent reason for murdering Belle for years.
So if she dies, you get everything.
Well, most of it.
What happens if you die before she does?
It goes to Pip and Emma.
Who?
Yes, I know it does sound funny. Randall had a sister, Sonia. They fell out when she married a man called Dimitri Stamfordis. He sounds Greek, but he wasn't. Mid-European or somewhere. A real rogue, but quite handsome. Oh, Randall hated him.
So he cut Sonia out of his will.
That's quite right, Inspector, but it didn't matter. Sonia was rich in her own right. Still, Belle and Randall's lawyers persuaded him to add someone in his will in case I died before Belle. It was quite sensible. Well, we hadn't heard anything from Sonia for years, but approximately 2 to 3 years after she got married, Belle received a letter from her saying that she was deliriously happy and had given birth to twins.
Pip and Emma.
Yes. I suppose the names were a joke between her and her husband. One was born just before midnight, one just after.
So there's a young man and a young lady somewhere who stand to become millionaires.
Well, if
If you die before Belgova. Does anyone know what happened to Sonia and her husband?
the last we heard, they were living somewhere in Eastern Europe.
How old would Pip and Emma be now?
25 or 26, something like that.
They must be found. Have you any idea what they look like?
None. There were no photographs, and even if there were, it wouldn't help us recognize them now.
What did Sonia look like? They may resemble her.
Sonia was dark and very temperamental. But she was quite beautiful.
Or Sonia, Inspector. Her husband, Dimitri Stamfordis, was it? You said he was a rogue. Supposing he went through all her money, clearly she'd stand to gain if you were to die first.
Dimitri would too.
Yes.
So there are at least 4 people who would benefit from your death, Miss Black.
Yes.
No, you can discount Patrick and Julia. If I die before Belle, they'll only receive a pittance.
At this stage, I don't believe in discounting anyone, and I'd advise you to do the same.
Is anything wrong?
No,
Why are you looking at me so strange?
I didn't realize. No, Mitzi, nothing is wrong.
Okay.
Just a minute, Nixie.
What you want, policeman?
Have you any relations in this country?
I want to know.
Any family?
My family is dead. Massacre.
I understood they were sent to Siberia.
Who told you that?
This summer.
So you have no one, brother or something?
I am alone.
Any English relatives? Distant cousins, perhaps?
Me? English? If it was not so funny, I would be insulted.
At some point, I'll need to see your papers.
Everything is in order. I report back to immigration authorities every 3 months.
Calm down, it's routine. I'm obliged to do it.
Think I do this murder? Well, Inspector, arrest me. Put on the handcuffs.
Oh, good. You're arresting her, are you, Inspector?
I don't care. Arrest me.
Put your hands down. I'm not in the mood.
But you should arrest her. She stole a cup.
I did not steal anything, you stupid old woman.
Mitzi!
No, she accused me of stealing. I do not.
Bonnie, what's this all about?
One of your favorite coffee cups, Letty. It's missing. They were on the Welsh dresser in the kitchen, and she never lets anyone go in there. Well, there were 6, and now there are only 5.
Mitzi, I won't be angry. Did you break one?
First, murder. Now stealing. And mine. Because I am a foreigner.
That is the truth.
She is the screwy one. She probably put the cup somewhere and forgot about it. She should be put away.
You're being very rude, Mitzi. Apologize to Miss Bunner.
No. I go. I'm not blackening your doorstep again.
I apologize for that outburst. Regrettable, but she's always like that.
I'm afraid she can't leave.
Oh, she won't. She's such an explosive person.
And a liar. You should check up on her, Inspector. I dare say we'd all be surprised if we knew the truth about her.
Well, she does make excellent coffee, though.
It's the only thing she doesn't put garlic in.
Miss Marple.
Yes, I'd love some, thank you.
Inspector?
Not right now, if you don't mind. I would like to take another look around. Perhaps you could show me the rest of the house.
Yes, of course. Bonnie, would you pour the coffee?
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, excuse me. You like it black, don't you?
No, I like it white.
Oh, that's That's right. I don't see how you drink it black. I like mine with lots of milk and sugar. I've always had a sweet tooth. Letty used to tease me about it when we were children, I remember.
Not many friendships last as long as yours.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
She rescued me, you know.
What from?
I was destitute.
Surely not.
Don't you believe me?
Oh, yes, of course.
She's so good, not just to me, but to everyone.
She does seem to take rather a lot of people under her wing.
Too trusting by far.
She doesn't strike me as the sort of person who's easily fooled.
She's not a woman of the world, you know. Not like us.
But having worked for Randall Gurner all those years,
Oh, yes, she did. Who told you that?
oh, you did, the other day.
Oh, it's a secret. Don't tell anybody. Poor Lottie. Poor Lottie. Whenever I think of her, that poem comes to mind.
What poem's that, Miss Bunner?
Why, the one that goes, and sad affliction, bravely borne.
What sad affliction?
What?
Sad affliction.
Oh, all those years looking after her sister. Only she would have done that.
Tuberculosis, wasn't it?
She gave up everything. Everything. No one appreciates her, not like I do. And that Patrick is always taking advantage of her.
No, he seems such a nice young man.
He's always borrowing money from her and never paying her back. I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one that put Rudy Schurtz into coming here last night. They were probably going to share the proceeds so he could give Letty the money he owes her. He's just like all the young people these days. They have no respect for anything.
Your things aren't all that easy for them, you know.
Come and look at this. Look what one of them has done to this beautiful sideboard. There, a cigarette burn. And it's only the young people who smoke in this house.
What a shame.
Such a beautiful piece.
Yes, it is. And so is this.
That's Dresden. We have two. A shepherd here and the shepherdess in the spare room.
No, this is the shepherdess, Miss Bunner.
Oh, I always thought the shepherd was in this room. Oh dear, Miss Marple, this dreadful business has quite got on top of me. I'm more confused than ever.
Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry, Miss Bunner. The violets have died. I thought they'd last until the end of next week.
Oh, how silly of me. I forgot to water them.
No, but...
I'm no wonder.
No, never mind. I can bring you lots more. And I think I know someone who could repair this, so you'd never know it had been damaged.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I really ought to be going now, though.
Must you? It's so nice having someone to talk to who understands.
Yes, I have some shopping to do.
Not that one. It's always sealed shut. This table used to be in front of it. Then people knew they couldn't go through.
That seems like a good idea.
It was. But Philippa suggested it would be better here. She said it would integrate the rooms more. This was 2 rooms originally, you see.
Is there a key?
The builders were so clever. You see, the same key fits all the locks on the downstairs rooms, but there's a different key for each bedroom. So sensible.
So sensible.
I'll show you. You see? Oh, it's very stiff, but I still can't open it. Oh,
What are you doing? That door has not been opened.
I'm terribly sorry, Miss Blacklock.
Miss Marple,
It's all my fault, Letty. I was explaining to Miss Marple how Philippa suggested we move the table away from the door and...
It's my fault, Miss Blacklock. I'm sorry I have insatiable curiosity. Please don't blame Miss Conlon. I really am sorry.
there's no need. With everything that's gone on, I'm just feeling quite overwrought.
Yes, my nerves are a little on edge, too.
You see, this door hasn't been opened since these two rooms were made into one, somewhere at the end of the last century. And I didn't know it.
Ah, Miss Bunner. My sergeant found your missing coffee cup in the bushes by the duck pond.
Oh, how lovely. I should have asked you to find it in the first place, shouldn't I, since you're a detective?
Yes, it's all part of the job. We find missing budgericars as well.
But how did my coffee cup get there?
Using my obvious powers of detection, I would say someone threw it there. Have you any idea why there might be oil in it, Miss Blacklock?
I think I have, Inspector.
Surprise me, Miss Marple.
The hinges have been oiled quite recently, I'd say.
What? So the door can be opened silently. So if Rudy Schutz had an accomplice, it could have been anyone in this room last night.
Yes.
But why should he need to use this door? Well, whoever he is, he's the only one who knows it can be opened. And he may try to use it again. Let's hope I'm here when he does. It's 11:30. I've got to get back to the station. Would you like a lift, Miss Marple?
Yes, thank you. That's very kind.
Oh my goodness, the ducks. I've forgotten to feed them.
Oh, can I help you, Letty?
Yes, of course. The poor creatures must be wondering what's gone wrong these days. Goodbye, Miss Marple.
Goodbye, Miss Blacklock. Bye, Miss Bunner. Yes.
Letty? 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 Is Clara up? Oh dear, I've got to leave the honey.
It was a lovely birthday present, Letty.
I'm sorry, honey. It would have been a better present if I could have gotten to the shops yesterday.
No. A box of handkerchiefs was just what I wanted.
I'll get you something on Monday, buddy.
I wouldn't want you to put yourself in trouble, Patrick.
If only the inspector would let us get away earlier. I really am sorry.
So am I. About the party as well.
Well, we couldn't have gone ahead with it, could we?
No, that's what I said. I had to cancel my party after that dreadful business. I don't mind. It doesn't upset me.
I don't see why we couldn't have gone ahead with it anyway. I mean, a man none of us knew came here, tried to rob us, almost killed Aunt Letty. And just because he got what he deserved, you decide poor Bunny has to suffer.
I can't believe even you can be so insensitive, Patrick.
No, I can be quite sensitive sometimes. For instance, I have noticed the way you and Edmund Swetnam have been looking at each other.
What's the matter, Patrick? Are you jealous?
Whatever's this? Lover's tip?
Well, it certainly isn't that.
Careful, darling. You know what they say about the lady who does protest too much.
Oh dear, please don't argue. I have such a headache. But for that dreadful shooting and all those questions, well, the pain is quite devastating.
Why don't you take something for it?
No. I'll be all right.
And don't be silly.
I can't find my aspirin anywhere, Letty.
There's a bottle of aspirin on my bedside table.
Thank you, but I'm quite capable of withstanding it.
Of course you are, but why suffer?
Well,
Shall I go?
no. The least I can do is get them for myself.
You really do know her well, don't you, Miss Blacklock? She surprised me this time, holding out so long before mentioning her headache. But you said she developed a stinker, and you were right.
It's a pity we couldn't have the party anyway. She's been so looking forward to it.
I'm only glad it was her suggestion in the first place.
I mean, where's the harm?
Well, suppose we have some cake with tea today and turn it into a sort of small party, just for the family?
It'd cheer her up to no end. Only a teeny-weeny party.
But blast you, you make me feel dreadful.
I'll buy you a little stout down for one time.
Oh, you go away. Well, since we've got to have tea anyway, why not?
Oh, good. Go get Julia and tell Betsy we're going to have a cake after all.
Right out.
I don't mean to be inquisitive, Philippa, but there's something troubling you, isn't there?
Well,
Is it anything to do with your son?
no, he's fine. He loves his school. The fees, well, they're a bit of a problem, obviously.
Then there is something.
It'll be all right.
Anything you tell me will be in the strictest confidence.
There's nothing to tell, really.
Well, I've got something to tell you that might help ease your worries.
There's nothing I can't cope with.
I know you're very independent, Philippa. There's not much I can help you at the moment, but perhaps soon.
Please, Letty, don't give it another thought. I shall be able to manage.
I want you to know, I spoke with my solicitor yesterday. I'm changing my will. Apart from Bunny's legacy, everything now goes to you.
Me? Well, you can't be serious.
Oh yes, it's all in hand.
But I don't want it. You mustn't. What about Patrick and Julia?
Oh, they've got no claim on me. You are now the main beneficiary.
Why? Why are you telling me all this?
Well, I don't think it's at all a bad idea for people to know I'm changing my will.
I can't let you do it.
Oh, it's all taken care of, Philippa. If I die now, you won't get much. But if I live, you stand to come into quite a bit of money.
Die? You're not going to die.
Oh, you never know.
Here are Miss Marple, Miss Fettenham, and Edmund Fettenham. Thank you. You're welcome.
Miss Marple, Clara, this is quite a surprise. Is there anything wrong?
Wrong?
Yeah.
I suppose when the three of us turn up here these days, it does seem as if trouble isn't far behind.
Well, I certainly hope it is. I've had enough for one weekend, really.
It's my fault I was dropping in like this. I called around to Clara and Edmund to suggest it. Seems such a shame having to cancel Miss Bonner's party.
We just thought we would swing by and give her a gift each. I'm afraid it's not anything very exciting.
Oh, but how kind.
Don't worry, we won't stay long.
Oh, but you must. We're going to have tea with some cake later, and Bunny would be so pleased to have you here.
We would love to stay. Thank you.
Yes. Is that all right with you, Philippa?
Oh, well, yes, of course.
Oh, good.
Well, it looks as if we're going to have a party after all.
No, just tea.
Did you find the honey that I left you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Clara, I forgot. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. I came to the back door and couldn't find you anywhere. I mean, how silly of me to have forgotten to leave it in the first place. We got all the way home before we had even noticed.
I'm sure we could have left it until some other time.
But it was your idea, wasn't it?
Thank you. We did need it. Betsy always uses honey in a special cake.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Well, Miss Marple, it looks like this time you'll be into the kill.
Oh, no, Edmund, don't say things like that. It's all something we would like to forget, right?
But how can we? This is by no means over.
I
think you're right about that, Edmund.
He's meant to satisfy, isn't he?
I don't think he is.
I think someone paid for these shirts to try to kill Aunt Letty, and they'll try again.
You shouldn't have mentioned that, Patrick.
Good God. That means all of us are under suspicion.
I'm afraid Inspector Craddock must include all of us here now.
Yes. How long were you in the hole, Miss Marvel? We only have your word that you were coming up to drive with the shoulder fire.
My dear boy, I'm sure I'm very high on his list.
Really? And you seem to get on so well with him.
I think he finds me mildly amusing.
Patrick, why don't you go see if Bunny's coming?
I really hope that there's not going to be any more, let's call it unpleasantness.
Oh, I'm sure it's all over.
By that, you mean any more murders, Mother?
Oh, let's all try to forget about it and just enjoy ourselves.
She's coming.
Happy birthday, Bunny! Oh, but I cancelled my party.
Oh, no, your party. We're just going to have some cake with tea.
What a lovely surprise. Oh, thank you.
Here's a little something to wish you a very happy birthday, Miss Bunner.
Oh, how kind. Thank you, Miss Marvel.
I'm afraid it's only handkerchiefs.
Just what I wanted.
It's only some apples from the garden.
What a lovely thought.
Oh, and I brought you some honey. I'm afraid the bees aren't very busy just these days, so it's just half the job.
Well, I guess it can't be helped.
No.
I really must take these aspirin. I've got a bumpy headache still.
Patrick, put some soda water on the sideboard.
Aren't I silly for having a headache on my birthday?
Oh, I have a headache on the birthday.
Oh, you'll soon feel so much better.
What a magnificent cake!
I excel at this time. I put the special secret ingredients in. Give it that extra bit of flavor. It gives more than perfect.
Have you noticed the candle, Bunny?
Yes.
Only one.
Of course, there isn't room for all 21 candles, is there?
You've got to blow out the candle, Bunny.
Okay.
Oh, do hurry up and cut it, Bunny. Yes, we're all dying to try it. I'm hungry.
Who's first?
You. You're the birthday person. You must eat the first slice.
Go on, Bunny, I'll cut the rest.
Thank you.
Everyone must have some. Bunny, don't forget to make a wish.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
What are you wishing for, Bunny?
I'm not telling. It won't come true.
I would wish him dead.
If you weren't my sister.
Oh, but I am.
Yank her back!
The what? Miss Marvel?
Oh, no, it's the excitement. It's too much for her. Get some brandy.
Surely we should call the doctor.
Yes.
Oh, dear Nettie, what's the doctor's got?
Oh, 5 minutes.
I'm afraid there's no need.
What?
It's too late.
Delicious death.
What are we going to do?
Think of something.
We're bound to find out.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, for God's sake, Patrick.
We'll achieve nothing by panicking.
You will help me, won't you?
Haven't I done everything you've asked?
I know. You've been wonderful. I need you.
Well, we're in too far. Can't stop now.
What's done is done.
I did it for you.
Good morning, Miss Simmons. How are you, Mr. Simmons?
Well, thank you.
Have you got anything more?
We're making progress. We're not interrupting anything, are we?
No, of course not.
No, of course. No.
Well,
Right, we'll go feed the ducks or something.
Mr. Simmons,
Yes?
did you know you have lipstick on your collar?
Oh, well, I did put on the clean one this morning, so.
Well, you can't blame you, can you, Miss Simmons?
Hardly.
By the way, Miss Simmons,
Yes,
you work at the pharmacy at the local hospital, don't you?
that's right.
Thank you.
Well, the ducks.
There are more urgent things, Miss Blackwell.
Inspector, I am not up to answering questions.
I'll be as brief as I can, but you've had another lucky escape.
I find it more and more difficult to accept your reasoning, Inspector. How can you possibly suggest I was the intended victim this time? And one of us could have eaten that cake first.
I agree.
And Patrick's suggestion that Clara's honey was poisoned? Oh, it's malicious.
I agree also.
Then how do you suggest the cake was poisoned? Did Mitzi
It
have
wasn't the cake.
What?
It was these.
My aspirin?
Yes, your aspirin. The ones you normally keep by your bed.
No. No.
Someone wants you dead, Miss Blacklock. Very, very badly.
I'm frightened, Inspector.
At last. Now perhaps you'll help me find the murderer.
I haven't been deliberately non-cooperative. I just couldn't believe anyone would...
There's no friendship where money is concerned. I understand that Belle Gerler's condition has deteriorated recently.
Oh, I knew Belle wasn't doing well.
I understand from the Scottish police that she's now seriously ill.
I should go to her. Poor Belle.
It could be for Miss Blacklock.
Pip and Emma.
Yes. They are uppermost in my mind. But it could be a combination of them and their parents who are trying to kill you. Their father, Dimitri Stamfordis, you said he was a rogue. Would he go as far as murder to get money?
I'll do anything you say, Inspector.
Good. Try to remember everything you can about him. Sonia, Pip and Emma, anything and everything. But the son and daughter especially, they are uppermost in my mind. Have you any photographs of them?
Belle would be more likely to have photographs than I am.
I'm afraid we drew almost a complete blank with her. They allowed the police up there to go through the house, and they found nothing. Have you anything? What I'm hoping is that Pip may resemble his father, or Emma, her mother.
Or the other way around.
Exactly.
There was an old album. I haven't seen it for years, but it should be somewhere in the house.
Find it.
It may take me a while.
Would you like some help?
Let me look first.
I believe you want to see me.
Yes, Mrs. Haynes. Do sit down.
Dear, this does sound serious.
If you lie about something, you will have to cover your tracks very, very carefully.
I don't...
Yes, you do understand. Don't lie anymore. You know what I'm talking about.
Everyone says we have more freedom nowadays, that the world is more understanding than it ever was. Well, Inspector Craddock, you try being an unmarried mother.
I don't think it would work.
It isn't easy in a small village.
So you invented a husband.
Well, how do you think Letty Blacklock would react if she knew the truth?
She strikes me as a sympathetic and understanding person. What's more, she's no fool. I have a sneaking suspicion she may have already guessed.
So that's why.
What?
Well, she's so kind to me. There aren't many like her.
Does your son know the truth?
He believes his father died.
Silly. He'll find out sometime.
Maybe.
My advice to you is to tell him, and everyone else.
Will you tell the rest if I don't? It isn't a crime.
I couldn't live with it, but it's up to you.
Well, how did you find out?
We do a lot of routine work.
Checking up on me.
Sort of.
Well, you make it sound rather casual.
It isn't, but it's puzzling.
Puzzling.
It's a small thing, I'm sure it can help. It's about your son's birth certificate.
Yes.
It gives the mother's name as Philippa Haynes.
Well, that's me.
Well then, there's the problem. You see, we can't find a birth certificate for anyone with your name, or one that corresponds with what we know about you.
I found it, Inspector. Am I interrupting anything?
No, your timing is perfect. Mrs. Haynes and I were just finished, for the time being. Are there any photos of Sonia and her husband?
I haven't had a chance to look yet, Inspector.
Is that her?
No, that's Belle. Oh, isn't she beautiful?
Belle at Skane?
That's their place in Scotland. I'm afraid the writing is rather faded.
Tell me when there's one of Sonia and Dimitri.
Yes.
Sonia and Dimitri. Dimitri. Belle, Dimitri and Sonia, Skane. Belle, Self and Sonia. Someone got to this ahead of you, Miss Blacklock, haven't they?
It looks as though they've been ripped out.
Letters?
Those will be from me to my sister.
If you've no objection, I'd like to skim through these, please. There could be something about Belle and her husband. Sonia and her husband.
Miss Blacklock!
Oh, not now, Mitzi. I don't want to be interrupted.
Hang on, interrupt! I give you the sack and I go.
No, she can't go. She can't go.
Certainly not.
Oh, well, stop her.
And when you catch up with her, you can tell her that she can't get any further than the bus station.
Inspector,
Ah, my little sleuth, you're just in time.
something sound like a bad penny.
Not me, Miss Marple, not me.
I passed Miss Blacklock and she told me to come in. That girl of hers, Mitzi, was hurrying down the drive like a maniac.
She is rather peculiar, that one. But now that you're here, I can put you to work and you can help me with a little research.
Certainly, but I do have to talk to Miss Blacklock.
This won't take very long, but I don't think you'd want to pass up the opportunity of going through someone's old letters.
Inspector, that's not like me. Whose are they?
They're from Miss Blacklock to her sister, Charlotte. If you come across anything that's helpful, as well as interesting, read it to me, please.
Very well.
Well, here's something that's been mentioned before.
Oh?
It refers to her disfigurement, Charlotte's, that is. It's not as bad as you think it is, and you shouldn't lock yourself away.
I wonder what it was, this disfigurement.
It doesn't say. I suppose it wasn't very much, though.
And why should she lock herself away?
In my experience, women are extremely vain. How would you react if you had a mole on the end of your nose?
Well, I wouldn't have to look at it.
But most women would hide behind a veil.
Oh, it's mentioned here too. Listen, I do wish you'd get out more. No one else notices it.
You see, pure vanity, Miss Marple. Maybe. Ah, this is what I've been looking for.
What is it?
About Sonia Girdler, the fight with her brother. Sonia has such a violent temper. It's quite terrifying sometimes.
Did you ever find any photos of Sonia?
They disappeared, rather conveniently. The violent temper. And Miss Blacklock said she was dark and attractive. It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does indeed, Inspector. Oh, here's something interesting. You can always tell when Sonia is angry. She has the habit of clenching and unclenching her hands. Now, who does that remind you of?
You got me there. That's something I've missed.
Oh, you don't miss much, do you, Inspector? Julia Simmons does it when she's agitated. I've been keeping a very careful watch on that young woman.
I've checked out both Julia and Patrick Simmons. The French police contacted their mother in the south of France, and she confirmed that they were staying here.
Really? There's no mistake?
Unless the woman in the south of France isn't their mother.
Could she be Sonia, keeping out of the way until it's all over?
They must have checked on her. The French police are very thorough.
Then she really is Letty Blacklock's cousin.
Almost certainly.
I was hoping we'd found Emma. I always knew it was possible I was wrong about Julia, of course. And she's not the only one who does that hand clenching business. Philippa Haynes does it as well.
That's very observant, Miss Marple. 10 out of 10.
But it's so frustrating that there are no photographs of Sonia.
Yes. Sonia Girdler seems to have disappeared off the face of the earth.
I wonder what this means. Lots of love, darling, and buck up. This iodine treatment may make a lot of difference.
It must have been some special treatment that they used in those days.
For what?
TB. That's why Miss Blacklock sent her sister to Switzerland. Who does this remind you of?
I mean, I must admit it does look rather like Clara Swettenham. But
But what?
it's a very old photograph, Inspector.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting. You wanted to see me, Miss Marple?
Yes, please, Miss Blacklock, about the funeral service.
I need to get back to the station. I'd like to take these with me if you don't mind. I'll return with them. Goodbye, ladies.
Goodbye, Inspector. I'm sorry to disturb you at a time like this. My nephew wanted you to know that he's finalised the arrangements for the service, and he'd like to know what hymns you would like.
Lead Kindly Light was Bunny's favorite hymn. Please thank him for me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
You don't. Please, please don't.
It's only just come over me. Everything I've lost. When someone you've known all your life is gone, you feel quite alone when it's the only person who remembers.
I understand. Cousins, nieces, nephews are all very well. But when you lose the last person you shared your youth with, you really are alone.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm just leaving.
Not on my account, I hope.
No, my dear. There's something I must do. Goodbye, Miss Blacklock.
Thank you, Miss Marple.
Goodbye, dear.
Only me and you this morning. Mine's from Harry. He's looking forward to half term.
It seems like he's only just left for school.
Yes. Letty, I know it's not the ideal time to mention it, but it is all right, isn't it? Harry coming here for half term.
Philippa,
What's wrong?
where are Patrick and Julia?
Upstairs, I think. Why?
Okay.
I don't understand.
Will you please get them for me?
Patrick, Julia, Letty wants to work with you.
Shall I go?
No, I'd like you to stay.
Of course.
Julia, won't be a moment.
Sit down.
What is it?
I've just received this. Dear Aunt Letty, I hope it will be all right for me to come to you on Tuesday. Patrick was going to let me know, but he hasn't. My train arrives at about 6:15. It's signed, yours affectionately, Julia.
Oh, God.
This is from your sister.
I'm afraid so.
Then will you please explain who that woman is upstairs?
I know it was a stupid thing to do. But Julia, my real sister, didn't want to take the job at the hospital here. You see, she was offered a job up north at some theatre as an assistant stage manager. She's always been stage struck, and she knew Mother would be furious if she took it.
Will you tell me who that woman is upstairs?
I'm trying to. When we first came back to England, we didn't come straight here. There were people to see, parties to go to. That's how we met Julia. The one upstairs, I mean. She and I rather fell for each other, and as she wasn't doing anything particular, we thought it a marvelous idea for the girls to swap identities. I liked it for obvious reasons. And if Mother thought that my sister was here, well, she couldn't object. I wanted to tell you, but I couldn't under these circumstances.
Who is that young woman?
Well,
who are you? Who are you?
I'm Emma Stamfordis.
I'm surprised you decided to stay, Miss Stamfordis.
If I tried to make a run for it, you'd only have caught up with me.
You wouldn't have got out of Chipping Cleghorn.
Are you going to arrest me now?
I'd like to know where your brother is first.
I haven't the faintest idea.
Let's try something different. Where is your father?
I honestly don't know.
Honestly, I imagine that's a word that doesn't come easily to you.
Well, when we were 3 years old, it was decided that I would go with my father and he would go with my mother. So I have the faintest idea.
So where is your mother then?
Try the moon. I've searched everywhere for her. She made a good job of disappearing. I even went to Scotland to see if I could find some information.
You went to see that?
Why not? She is my aunt. Besides, I hoped that she might help me, but she's no longer part of this world. Of course, I knew my uncle was very rich, and it occurred to me that if that girl died, well, I was probably his only surviving relative. So I went to Somerset House and I looked up his will. Was I surprised? I searched everywhere for someone who even knew Letty Blacklock. And then I had the most incredible stroke of luck. Through an acquaintance, I met Patrick and his sister. Well, when the swap was suggested, I had to stop myself from sounding too eager.
I admire your self-control. You must have taken quite an effort in waiting for the right opportunity to take a pot shot at me.
Oh, really? Oh. I didn't.
Chipping Cleghorn 87. Hold on. Inspector, it's for you.
Hello, Craddock here. Yes? What? Keep me informed. Well, that's a disturbing development. Miss Marple has been missing since she left here this morning.
Oh, I see.
That's nearly 7 hours.
Where was she gone for a whole day?
Here are Mrs. Sputtenham and her son Edmund Sputtenham. Thank you, you're welcome.
What is it now, Inspector?
All in good time.
I really don't like policemen showing up at my doorstep and asking me to accompany them here. Look, my neighbors are going to be tittle-tattling for weeks.
I shall be writing to the newspapers about this.
Yes, you will.
That should keep you busy for a change, shouldn't it? Now, Mitzi, you have something to tell us?
Yes, I will tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. What I first saw on Friday, I not do that.
We all know what a little liar she is.
I was in the dining room, like I say, and I heard the gun go off. I looked through the keyhole, and in the moonlight, I could see Miss Blacklock.
What? Oh, Mitzi, no.
That's absurd. She couldn't possibly have seen Miss Blacklock.
All things.
Go on, Mrs. Swetnam. Why stop now? Why? Why couldn't she have seen Miss Blacklock? It's because she saw you, wasn't it?
Edmund! Oh, no, Inspector, absolutely not.
If Miss Blacklock dies before Belle Girdler, two people stand to benefit. Miss Danfortis?
Then you think I'm Pip. That's too fantastic for words.
Who told you about Pip, Mr. Swetnam? I certainly haven't, and neither has anyone else in this room.
You're wrong, Inspector. I've told him. He isn't Pip. I am. You wrongly assumed Pip was a boy, but Emma, you knew the truth. Why didn't you say so?
Because I knew who you were. The inspector was right. I didn't want to give you away out of family loyalty.
You. Of all people, Philippa.
I'm sorry, Letty, but after my mother died, I was desperate for money. Hers had gone long ago. She told me about the will, and I discovered for myself that Belle Girdler was seriously ill.
You had gone to a lot of trouble.
It was important to me. I wanted security, not for me, for my son, so I came here.
But I was prepared to help both of you.
Yes, well, it was in my plan to get into your good books.
And it worked, didn't it?
But I grew fond of you.
I even changed my will for you.
That scared me stiff. You said you had a good reason for doing it. I thought you'd found out who I was and you were warning me off trying to get my uncle's money.
And you came here to kill me for it.
It never occurred to me, even though I thought I was more entitled to it than you. Well, there it is. I'm Pip, and I'm glad you know.
You two have been seeing quite a lot of each other, haven't you?
Yes, well, now there isn't any more reason to suspect Edmund, is there, Inspector?
Isn't there? Mr. Swetnam's a struggling young writer, not yet published, who would very much like to marry a rich woman.
That's not true.
You're in debt up to your eyeballs.
Nonsense.
I could prove it. The bank, the bookmaker.
So what? Does that mean
This
that...
is really true.
A rich wife would solve all of your problems, wouldn't it? But in order for her to be rich, Miss Blacklock would have to die first. And you did something about that, didn't you?
Really, dear? No, this is a mistake, Inspector.
Shall we start with your meeting Rudy Shirts in Turin, Mr. Swetnam?
Edmund? In Turin?
You can't get very far. You'll have to speak to your solicitor as soon as possible, Mrs. Swetnam. I'm very sorry. I realize this must be a great shock.
This is all like a bad dream.
I'll need to see you down at the station, please.
Now?
It won't take very long. Mr. Simmons, would you please take Mrs. Swetnam home?
Yes, of course.
And I'll call you a doctor won't
Mrs. Swetnam.
Mitzi, you are a magnificent liar.
I do well, yes. I did what you asked.
To the letter.
You did very well, Mitzi.
Thank you, Miss Blacklock. I get you some coffee. You look tired.
Thank you.
Black and strong.
No, a little milk, please.
How do you drink it?
You can relax now. You're perfectly safe.
Thank God. You could have told me this was going to happen.
Then you wouldn't have reacted the way you did. It was unorthodox, I realize, but it worked.
But what if it hadn't?
I'd be in a bit of a mess, wouldn't I?
What about Miss Marple?
They must have some update at the station. I hope to God that she didn't find out about Edmund Swetnam before we did.
You'll let me know.
Yes, certainly.
If only she hadn't interfered.
I'll see you in the morning.
Thank you, Inspector.
Here you go, Miss Blacklock. Nice and strong.
Thank you, Mitzi.
Just a little milk in it.
One drop or two.
I take a liberty. I do myself some.
Yes, of course.
Now, Miss Blacklock, we have a nice little chat.
Oh,
I need money. Lots of money.
why tell me?
I think you will help me.
I haven't got any money, Mitzi. None to spare, that is.
But soon, you'll be rich, very rich.
then you give me lots of money.
I don't think I will.
Oh, yes, you will. I help you. Now you help me.
I pay you to help me, Mitzi, with the cooking, with the housework.
That's what I mean. I tell the inspector, a big whopper, that it isn't a lie. Not this time.
You don't know what the truth is, Mitzi.
Yes, I think I do. The inspector come here and tell me, Mitzi, you're a good liar. I say, yes, it's true. You tell Laggerly, you say you saw Miss Blacklock in the hall.
Well, you did your little bit very well, Mitzi. But I shan't be paying you for it.
But he told me to lie, and it is not a lie. For once, I tell the truth. I did see you in the hall with a gun in your hand. You give me the money. I go to America to see my brother. You never hear from me again.
But you haven't got a brother, Mitzi. And if I did give you money, you would probably spend it all and then come back here asking for more.
I see you in the hall. You have a gun in your hand. Give me the money or I tell the police.
Very well. Phone the police. Tell them that you saw me in the hall. Tell them that you saw me with a gun. And I'll tell them you're a liar. A liar who's trying to blackmail me.
I am not a liar.
And you'll be put in prison like you always say you were in your own country. I'll tell you why you won't do it. Because if you say you saw me in the hall, and you say you saw me with a gun, well, that's another of your lies, my dear little Mitzi. Because the police know. And everyone who was here on Friday night knows that the key was in the lock. So you couldn't have seen anything through that keyhole. Get out of my house. Now!
You're in danger, Lottie. Danger.
Bunny?
Lottie. Lottie.
Oh, Bunny! Bunny, I'm so sorry. I loved you. Oh, I really loved you. I didn't want you to die.
But Bunny had to die. Every day, she was becoming more and more of a liability.
Miss Marple, is this some kind of joke?
I have quite a talent for mimicry, so I'm told.
A joke in the worst possible taste.
Such sensitivity doesn't become you. Charlotte.
Charlotte is dead. I am Letitia.
Bunny would keep referring to you as Lottie instead of Letty at the most inconvenient times. I put it down to slip of the tongue. I'm sure other people did too. But she was the only one left who knew the truth, who remembered.
Bunny always muddled people's names. She often referred to Mitzi as Millie. She even called you Miss Maple. She confused you with the London store. We were all highly amused.
She was putting you at risk every time she got muddled. You couldn't take that risk any longer. At any moment she might give it all away.
How dare you, Miss Marple? Will you please leave?
Recognize it?
It's mine.
And it used to be kept over here until this one replaced it. Flex is very frayed. You can actually see bare wire. Miss Bunner put me onto it when she showed me the cigarette stain on the sideboard. She even told all of us at one point that you were holding the vase of violets and not the cigarette box as you insisted.
Another of Bunny's muddles. I've been handing cigarettes around. Philippa had one. She can confirm it.
All eyes were on the clock. As it finished striking, you simply emptied the water under the bare wire. That was the flash that Miss Bunner saw. Fused the lights. Very effective.
It's quite an imagination you have, Miss Marple. I shouldn't let it get away with you. I don't suppose your old age pension covers solicitor's fees.
I'll risk it.
It's your funeral.
I plan on living a few more years yet. When your father died, your sister Letitia...
Charlotte.
...decided to take you to Switzerland.
Charlotte had TB. Switzerland was the best place for her. I had the money. I loved her dearly.
It was the right decision. You, Charlotte, were cured. However, ironically, your sister Letitia caught pneumonia and died. You were frantic. With her death, you saw the Girdler millions slip through your fingers. And then it occurred to you. You and Letty had been away from England for years. There were big similarities between you. Why not swap identities with her?
My birth certificate, my passport, my bank will all confirm that I am Letitia. Oh, and I even have Charlotte's death certificate.
You returned to this country. Dora Bunner heard that Letitia had come back and contacted her because she badly needed help.
If I were Charlotte, then Dora Bunner would have recognized me immediately, and any deception I had planned would have been made impossible.
She did recognize you. But when you explained to her about the will and Randall Girdler, she actually agreed with you that it was your right to inherit the money and even offered to help. You were lonely, and here was someone you'd always had great affection for who would substantiate your deception. You took the risk.
Oh, good. Very good.
Everything went well for years, until a few weeks ago. You had a bit of bad luck. You ran into Rudy's shirts and he recognized you as Charlotte. You knew Belle could die at any time, and you knew the sort of man he was. Once the news broke that you had inherited the Girdler millions, knowing that you weren't Letitia, there was a very strong possibility that he would blackmail you. You couldn't allow even the slightest chance of that. You'd never be rid of him.
I have my methods of dealing with blackmailers, Miss Marple.
Oh, yes. When Rudy Shirts turned up here asking for money, it was heaven sent. Fine, you said. Next Friday's the 13th and I'm giving a party for my friends. I want to give them a thrill. You put an announcement in the paper saying a murder will take place here at 6:30 and then show up. I'll fuse the lights, you pretend there's a hold-up, they'll be scared stiff, and I'll give you your money.
Oh, do go on. It's all very interesting.
You fused the lights, as I've already explained. You went out through this door, along the passageway, and locked Mitzi in the dining room, came back in through this door, and fired 2 shots at yourself, except you weren't there.
How do you explain one of the bullets nicking my ear?
It was too obvious. Everybody knows an earlobe bleeds profusely when cut. A pair of scissors would do the trick. And you shot Rudy's shirt at point-blank range.
This would all be so ridiculous if it weren't absurd. Fine. Tell the inspector everything you told me. And he will dismiss it to the rantings of a senile old woman. Because we both know you have no proof.
Oh.
No.
Do you remember Dora Bonner's favourite quotation? And sad affliction, bravely borne. Switzerland wasn't only famous for curing TB. In a letter to you from Letitia, she mentioned iodine treatment. It had me baffled for a while, but a little research and I discovered that the Swiss doctors had perfected a very special glandular operation for a goiter.
No! Oh!
I'm sure when the records are checked that we will find that it was Lottie and not Letty who we successfully operated on for a goiter.
You shouldn't have interfered, Miss Marple. You're missing. Presumed dead. Edmund Swetnam stabbed you and dropped you in the river!
It's all over, Miss!
Oh,
Miss
why did
Blackwell.
you interfere? No, let go of me!
Are you all right, Miss Marple?
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
You're perfectly safe now.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, it's all over. Thank you very much.
You shall never know what a terrible time I've been through. No, I shall never forgive you, Edmund, never.
I'm sorry, Mother. I can hardly tell you what you're up to. You never would have agreed to my doing it.
How could you deceive me like that?
I said I'd help the inspector under the condition that I be the first to get all the facts. I'm convinced that somewhere in all this there's a fascinating novel to be written. And if I don't write it, someone else will.
We can only hope.
Well, what does the inspector want with us now?
He didn't say.
The inspector did tell me to come here and... Hey! What do you think of my acting, huh?
Were you acting, Mitzi?
I was even better when I pretended to blackmail his Blacklock. I give up cooking and go on the stage!
I owe you an apology, Mrs. Swetnam. The fewer people who knew what I was up to, the better. That's why I couldn't tell you either.
Well, supposing I hadn't come to Edmund's rescue and admitted to being Pip.
There was no real danger of that, was there? Well, now that you're all here, I have a little surprise for you.
Oh dear.
I thought you might now be in the mood to enjoy it. Delicious death. It's already cut, so dig in. Mrs. Swetnam,
No, thank you.
please.
Oh, no, I'm on a diet.
Funny people.